Hey everyone, Danny Rozzkid here, and wait a second, Scott Pilgrim news? Quick, somebody call the League of Evil X's! There's finally new information after 10 whole years!
I respect you people! I respect the crew, I respect you, Max, but you're amateurs! And my heart's in it, and you guys step on my heart every day!
Okay, so maybe it's been a while since we've had any new updates on Scott Pilgrim.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead, better known as every nerd's dream girl, was recently asked about the possibility of a Scott Pilgrim vs. the World sequel during a promo for her upcoming movie Birds of Prey. And she said, "You know what? I think that would be so cool. I would be so curious to know what happened to these characters when they're in their mid-30s as opposed to the sort of 20 slacker thing. So I think it would be really interesting. We always talked about a sequel when we were doing it, but we always imagined it would be like, still a year later. Where are they? But I think it's way more fascinating to know where they'd be 10 years later. I'm down for it." This isn't a confirmation by any stretch of the imagination, but it's proof that even after a decade, Scott Pilgrim hasn't left the hearts and minds of fans.
So I know what you're all thinking. When is Scott Pilgrim Endgame coming out? Well, unfortunately, it doesn't look like we'll be facing another round with the Evil X's anytime soon, but not all hope is lost.
Universal Studios still somehow owns the theatrical rights to Scott Pilgrim, and let's not kid ourselves. While the story of a dorky Canadian managing to get the world's hottest Amazon delivery girl to fall for him made our collective nerd hearts explode, it bombed at the box office, grossing just under $48 million against a $60 million budget. Yikes. To make matters even worse, two side characters had to go off and become huge mega superstars, which are central characters of extremely popular media franchises. Ugh, hate when that happens in my friend group.
So all those things considered, the answer is definitely most likely not to a no. However, making a movie isn't the only way we can drag our beloved series kicking and screaming into the 2020s. Here's 4 ways the Scott Pilgrim saga can continue on.
Number 1, and the most obvious, Brian Lee O'Malley can log off of Twitter and release the Where Are They Now follow-up graphic novels. Number 2, pick up from Scott Pilgrim vs. the Animation. This animated short was a prequel to the 2010 movie and aired on Adult Swim.
What are you in for?
I got in a fight. An awesome fight.
It's only 4 minutes, but it definitely matches the movie in terms of its tone, style, comedy, and kickassery. And in a world where we get a 7th season of the Clone Wars, anything's possible.
Very funny.
Number 3, Scott Pilgrim's heavily inspired by anime, so what better way to continue the series than making it into an anime? But don't take my word for it. Edgar Wright, the director of Scott Pilgrim, even agrees with this sentiment.
I mean, maybe if there was anything more to do with it, it would be to do like an anime version of the books with like the voice cast and stuff. That would be fun.
And finally, number 4, creating a standalone animated movie in the style of the Scott Pilgrim vs. the Animation, released on some streaming service. With movies like Into the Spider-Verse and Claws making waves, it wouldn't be a stretch to see an animated film. This concludes the 4 ways the Scott Pilgrim saga can continue on.
And with that all being said, I can now complete the Scott Pilgrim sequel summoning ritual to make Brian O'Malley do our bidding. Or we can just move on because the story of Scott Pilgrim and Ramona Flowers is, well, done.
It's a weird statement to say, but yeah, Brian Lee O'Malley's done with Scott Pilgrim, and said he purposefully made Volume 6 to be the closer of the series. To quote the creator of Scott Pilgrim himself, "People just want the same thing. They don't want anything new at first, but once they figure out what it is, and that they like it, they want it to go on forever. And you can't always give people exactly what they want. So I want people to enjoy Scott Pilgrim, and if I ever did something with it again, it'll be different. It'll probably ruin it for someone. But if I did do that, it would be in the way I want to do it, and it'll be something that means something to me. You might as well just go on and do something new, and people will just take it or leave it." And that's exactly what he did, releasing Seconds and Snot Girl after. Side note, check out Snot Girl, like for real. It's commendable and honestly artistically brave of him to continue making and telling new stories instead of sticking to something which a lot of people liked. It knew when to stop. After telling a complex, often awkward, and always overwhelming earnest love story, it didn't try to make endless spin-offs after sequel, after miniseries, after alternate universe coming to you soon on your local streaming platform. And where it seems like everything is just a copy of a copy, it's refreshing to see a series and creator firmly keep their story grounded and honest, instead of going down the rabbit hole. But I'm still waiting for a Snot Girl movie with a tie-in animated series and at least 2 rides at Universal Studios. Fingers crossed though.
So all in all, I'm kind of glad I can rewatch the same movie over and over again for the rest of my life. No new sequels, no new changes, no reboots, no nothing, just a simple, perfect movie. And they just rebooted with Tom f***ing Holland.